I have seen so many exceptional women drop out of workforce because they were not able to handle both the things, work and family. To me, I think any small technology change that can bring some value to business is what excites me. So we feel ki, you come in the morning, you do your work, you go home, that's enough. But I don't think that's enough if you want to grow in your career. You have to have people talk about you behind your back.
Hello and welcome to CIO News. I am Khushbu Soni, founder and Chief Editor at CIO. Here we are again talking on my very favorite series, which is Wonder Woman in Tech. And I'm very excited to invite my guest. We have Priya Dar, the Chief Information Officer at Valvoline Cummins Pvt Ltd. Priya is a highly accomplished senior technology executive with track record of managing complex projects and exceeding expectations. She has extensive experience in strategy, budget management, customer-facing digital management solutions. She's worked with various industries such as FMCG, telecommunications, retail, and finance. She's been recognized for people and project management skills consistently and delivered large-scale projects on time and within the budget. Excellent exposure to industry standard quality control techniques, methodologies, and processes. She's managed various digital transformation roles and P&L management as well. Priya, it is an absolute pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for doing this episode with us.
Thank you, Khushbu. Thank you for having me. It's been a while since I've been in this industry, and things have changed a lot. So I think talking to people like you who have talked to others as well gives us an opportunity, gives me an opportunity also to learn where people are coming from, what is it that is being discussed in the industry. So thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to a wonderful chat.
Wonderful to have you once again. You've been in this space for so long. You are managing the entire technology division for such a large organization. And how do you do it? Like, what does a typical day look like?
It is very boring. A typical day. I've been in the industry for a very long time. I think one of the things that helps me is that I'm very passionate about technology and how it can help business. Sometimes as technologists, we kind of get into these buzzwords of what is happening in the industry, blockchain and AI. And these days it's generative AI and all these new things. To me, I think any small technology change that can bring some value to business is what excites me. And that is how I think my typical day looks like. I keep looking for opportunities where I can, talk to people, understand where we can help them. I love talking to people. I ask a lot of questions. It's in my nature. I'm a very extroverted kind of a person. Meeting new people is something that I love. Trying to understand how we are using technology end to end in our personal lives and how does that reflect into professional. I think that is what drives me as well. Typically, Valvoline Cummins is a global company. Our strengths or our needs are a little bit different than what a typical FMCG is. And so, how do I bring my experience working in a typical FMCG or and then align it to what we are doing currently, and then, aligning it to the global Valvoline as well. What is exciting about my role here?
Wonderful, wonderful. Asking from a personal level, like what it's more with interactions with global team as well. What does it look like? Like, is it a 10-hour or 15-hour, 20-hour work
Oh.
life?
No, 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 no. I really don't believe in 15-hour and these 17-hour discussions at all. I think once we start putting those numbers on our work life, as with our personal life, things just we lose control. I
Yeah.
think what needs to drive us is the end goal. And in anything, I mean, in your personal life, this is something that you want to achieve. You can't really put a number on it. Or in work life, I have had instances where we were going live and I stayed in the office for the whole night.
Yeah.
And I have had instances where we didn't really didn't have a lot of things to do. So you walk out of the office, you have lunch with a friend, and that's also okay. I think the sense of responsibility and sense of accountability is what needs to drive you. And that is what I believe in that. I think I'm very old school. These are things that, we learned a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I think these conversations around 15 hours and 14 hours and no, we'll only have 4 hours working weeks, etc. I don't understand these conversations at all. It doesn't have to be 8 hours or 15 hours. In our work, I think a lot of organizations got rid of these swiping in, swiping outs. At
Right.
least, two swipes don't happen.
Right.
Unless it is a compliance issue, like in factories, etc. But nobody is keeping track of times. As long as you are delivering what you promised to deliver, as long as the delivery is clean, it's quality delivery, you're discussing the issues with people, you're collaborating with people, you're understanding the problem and trying to solve it. For me, I think my day is planned according to what I want to accomplish that day. I'm one of those people who actually put a time on my calendar for a presentation even that I have to prepare. We have presentations coming up. January is budget and strategy time for us. So I do take time off from my calendar to do those kind of activities as well. So I try to plan my calendar as much as possible and
Right.
try to accomplish what I head out to do in the day. Obviously, it doesn't always work out that well. I mean, something or the other gets derailed, and then we figure it out that way. I mean, I don't think having those set parameters worked for me. I mean, at least
Yeah,
that's what my.
absolutely. I mean, I think it's for everyone. While it is very important to, of course, go by the calendar, of course, at this level and at this position, it is very, very important because there's so many things that come up. And then, of course, we have families, right? As women, it is expected. There is, especially in India, there is an expectation beyond the basics as well. So do you see a challenge in that aspect too? Or do you, any advice that you would want to give? How do you manage both?
I've always been impressed by Indira Nooyi and the way that she clearly communicates what she's thinking. And one of the videos that I saw of her, she said, "We can't have everything." If that is the goal, then, I mean, if she can't have everything, who am I to question that? I think as women, yes, there is especially Indian women, there's a lot of society pressure. The kids, the house, the kitchen, the families, the relatives are your responsibility. But I think somewhere I've been very lucky to have a husband who is more of a partner. I think we had those conversations early on. I mean, it wasn't mostly about conversations, but I mean, he always helped, even the kids' diapers. And I have twins. So it was a double bonanza for me. It wasn't like I didn't get eased into things. But he did help out. He would get the morning routine would be his, the evening would be mine. And we somehow managed. I think during that time, I realized that it's very important for us to ask for help.
Yeah,
Some reason women just decide that, we don't need help. We'll do everything ourselves.
yeah,
ये भी करेंगे, वो भी करेंगे, kitchen भी करेंगे, families भी करेंगे, घर भी करेंगे. It
yeah.
doesn't work out that well. I mean, if you stand up and you ask for help from your mom, your mother-in-law, your husband, your sister, whoever can help you, from people at work. I've had exceptional colleagues stand up and help me out. So I think that is something that we need to keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we are living in a society which still has a ways to go. And the question that comes will have to be, so either you stand up and fight with everyone, or you kind of take a middle ground and figure out things and try to get as much as possible. Again, I'm going to quote Indira Nooyi. She said she missed so many of her kids' parent teacher meetings. But it felt bad for a little bit, but then she moved on. That's what we have to. You are not just a homemaker, you are a career woman, you're a mother, you're a CIO, editor of a great channel, trying to start something on your own. So, I mean, things will happen. You just have to give each of them attention.
Wonderful. I've had this conversation with a lot of women in this series of mine from the tech space, and one of the observation has been that we don't see a lot of women at this role in the tech industry, at a CIO role in the tech industry, in the leadership role, even let's call it as a leadership. Do you see that there is a challenge or there's a pattern of challenge which is across women that they're facing? And how did you kind of overcome to achieve?
Yeah, I think there is a challenge. I mean, we can shout on top of rooftops and say we have come a long way, and women can do have the opportunities and can do more than what they were doing. Obviously, we have come a long way, but there are a lot of challenges. Like you mentioned, the pressure of families. The women have kids. I have seen so many exceptional women drop out of workforce because they were not able to handle both the things, work and family, and
Yeah.
they really didn't have a lot of help at home. I mean, we are going towards nuclear families. I mean, we want to do everything, but we really don't want the help, and we want to achieve everything. It doesn't happen. I've
Yeah.
had a really great girl in my team. She came up to me a few years ago and she said, I can't do it. I have to take time off, or I will just resign. If you can give me some kind of a sabbatical. And we worked with her. We gave her some opportunities. We had the company have a collaboration with a crèche, and she would leave her kid there. Her husband wasn't living in the same state as her. His work was a lot of traveling, etc., and she felt so pressured that she decided this was the only way out. So I think one thing that worked for her was speaking up. I think we as managers have to create an environment where not only women, men also can come up to you and say, this is where I need help. And of course, if we can, why not? So I think that is one thing, that amazing, exceptional, talented women are dropping off because they don't have the help and they are not able to manage. The other thing that I think is happening is once you get into the leadership role or the boardroom, there is a lot of adjustment. More than 70%, 80% people sitting in the boardroom are men. And there is some adjustment, a level of adjustment that we as women have to do to get there. If you don't want to adjust, it will be a problem.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you can't just stand up and say, Acha, I mean, you continue with what you're doing and I will just seamlessly. I remember one of my very first board meetings where one of the guys, very senior guy, he stood up and said, you know what, Priya, you are one of the guys now. Got a very bad expression on my face. You know what, I'm not one of the guys, but I didn't make it a big issue there. But then I walked into his room and I said, you know what, I don't think I like this tag of being one of the guys, and it would really help if you would understand where I am coming from. And he
Yeah.
was really nice. He did support.
Yeah.
I've had men, one of the guys, very senior leaders in a meeting, and I've written about this on LinkedIn. One of the very senior guys, he wouldn't look at me when we were talking. He had this very weird demeanor in meetings where he wouldn't look at women. It wasn't just me. He wouldn't look at women. Even women in his team, he wouldn't look at. And he would answer your question. You would ask a question, he would answer, but he would be looking at somebody else, which is very weird in a meeting.
Mm.
So I think one of the things I really feel is, as a woman, whenever you have to decide between what you want to do, you have to really truly ask yourself, who is it going to help or who is it going to hurt?
Yeah.
If it is not helping you and it is hurting you, then you take a decision accordingly. If you think this is what it is, but not only people who are coming up, but people who are sitting on leadership chairs, we have to make sure that we give those opportunities, create that environment. It is going to take a little bit of time, but hopefully it will happen. I think consulting is doing a great job on it. A lot of consulting companies, I see a lot of women there, and they're doing exceptionally well. I think the other side of the table has to catch up.
Absolutely. I think thank you for so candidly opening up. I think it's good to really talk about the real problems. Tell us what's the best part of being a woman in the tech industry as for you? What do you think makes you so excited about being in this space?
See, now, I mean, we go to these meets or we meet other women, and the way that we talk about our challenges and the way that we've really overcome these challenges, it's really heartwarming to talk to other women. Or, when some woman comes up to me and says, how did you get there? This is my goal. I want to sit in that leadership chair. I want to be part of the boardroom. I want to be one of the directors. How did you do that? What can you tell me? I think that part of my job where people really come up to me and say maybe one pointer, maybe two pointers. It's really heartwarming for me. I really love having those conversations with not just women, with men. I had a guy in my team come up to me and said, I feel I'm disappointing my wife because I'm working such long hours. I'm not there to help with the baby, but she's a stay at home mom. And I think if I don't work enough, then we'll not have the luxuries that we have at home. So I don't know what to do. And I said, you know what, the conversation that you're having with me, you need to have that with your wife.
Yeah.
I think ask her what she wants. Maybe you think she needs luxuries, and maybe that's not what she wants. or explain your side of the story, and this is what you're doing. Just don't assume. And I think that's the biggest thing that we are doing. We are just assuming that the other person wants this or the other person wants that. But for me personally, I think these conversations, the way that I see the industry changing a little bit, the acceptance of women in a boardroom, changes in our a lot of JDs that we see now are gender neutral. A lot of questions that used to come, sales people or factory people used to say, no, 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 we can't have women in sales. Women can't go out and sell these products. Women can't be in factory and run the machine. Those conversations have come down by such a big margin. And for me personally, to see this change happen over the last 20 plus years, and she's doing really, really well, it really opens up my heart to see, I had a small role to play in that.
Great. I think it's been great talking to you. I have one last question. If you would have to give advice to women in this space, who aspire to be CIOs, any advices that you would like to give them?
We have to kind of create a goal which is personal and professional. Professionally, I think one of the things that we don't do is we get stuck in technology a lot. And I think, especially if you're on this side of the table, you're not in consulting. Even in consulting now, you need to learn the business. And I think that's what guys do very well. They collaborate, they talk to each other, they understand how the business runs. They're not afraid to walk up to the CEO and say, this is what needs to happen. They have that way
Very,
of getting information. Yeah. So women have to come out of that shell where
yeah.
we will do what we are asked to do, and we will do the technology, we'll do amazing things in the background. So we
Mm.
have to kind of come out. We have to, it's fine if you make mistakes. Just understand your ecosystem. Find a mentor. I think another thing that we don't do is we don't find those people who have our back in an organization. So we feel ki, you come in the morning, you do your work, you go home. That's enough. But I don't think that's enough if you want to grow in your career. You have to have people talk about you behind your back. And
Correct.
that's what will bring you to the boardroom. You have to understand business. You have to be ready to take chances and fail. That is fine. But at least stand up and say, I think I have an idea. Let me run with it. So I
Right.
think professionally, those are the pointers that I would give to people who are starting, or are there in the middle management. Personally, like I said, create an ecosystem of people who you can depend on. You can reach out to those people and ask for help. Don't think that you have to do everything. Things that you can outsource, just outsource. I hate cooking, and so I have outsourced the whole kitchen to somebody. uh, uh, so I think small things, but I'm sure have the confidence in yourself, and I'm sure we'll do much, much better.
Lovely talking to you, Priya. I wish this could go on. I mean, there's so much that now there are further conversations that goes deeper. But lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for joining me on this series of Wonder Woman in Tech. It was truly, it shows that you're a Wonder Woman and doing fantastic. Thank you,
Thank
and I look forward to having many more conversations with you.
Sure. Thank you, Khushbu. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Bye bye.